Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're right.
We are live, everybody. Welcome to the Prop Stars 11/11 edition on Veterans Day. TJ, it's good to see you, man. I know life is crazy. It's just good to be here talking sports, hanging out with the guys. Thank you very much for a little bit
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
a little bit of respite and whatnot in life. My man, we had a crazy week in NFL. We had some important pieces go down. We got studs, duds. We got some things to talk about, man. Of course, I want to lead off with our number one topic. Brian Daboll, your
Yeah.
head coach of the G, man, New York Giants, is reportedly being let go. So please, let's break this down. I know we have a special guest that we're going to bring in and talk about this, Mr. Destino. I'm going to
Yeah,
be
let's bring him in.
giving the floor to the guys from New York. My question, I kept hearing that okay, now that Dayball's got his guys in place, he's going to get more time. And the fact that
Yeah.
Neighbors went down, we thought he was going to be given that extra what what is it, 14 weeks, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And then after he goes down, now you get Cam Scatabo, and you're like, all right, well, the future's there. We're going to go ahead and just practice and get some things in place. And then you see Jackson Dart go out. There's a couple of tough losses, and here we are. Is that pretty much like the short story of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pass it forward to Dustino in a minute, but I think we had a long talk about it yesterday. We did like Dayball for some things. We all know it's well documented, worst head coach in Giants history when it comes to record. He blew 4 double-digit leads on the road this year. Um, there are some talks that Jackson Dart would be at his best with Dayball, minus putting him in harm's way. But I think that's a little more on Dart, not Dayball. But there was a lot of back talk too, a lot of chatter in the background behind the scenes about how they couldn't get play calls in because Dayball's flipping out and losing his temper and not really being a calm, cool, and collect leader. I liked his spice. I liked his arrogance, but
The passion.
I but it was too much and there were too many inconsistencies with his behavior that a guy like the mayor or a family like the Mara family, who every decision throughout their whole life is well thought out and it's meticulous. The Giants have not been good and he's only gotten worse. He and let's be real. Saquon Barkley winning a Super Bowl, Daniel Jones looking like an MVP did not help, right? Did not help the cause. But Dayball could only hold on to that small playoff run 4 years ago. I could only get him so far. Dustino, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of the stuff. I think a lot of us wanted to believe that Daboll was a guy, football lifer, seemed like a tough guy, passionate, fiery. If you remember back his first year, right? Winning games, punching above his weight, right? They were winning
Yep,
games
yep.
that you really felt like they had no business winning. That's what you want out of your head coach, There was a lot of times, Belichick's teams, other guys' teams are not the most talented, but you have a little coaching edge. And I felt like we finally had that. Going for it. I
Yeah,
remember that,
yeah,
that first game at the Titans, Saquon
yeah,
Barkley were going for it for the 2-point conversion. I remember being so fired up when they did that.
yeah,
Hey, we got our coach. So for me, it's really just kind of disappointing how it's turned out because we thought we had our guy and we've gone through the McAdoo's, we've gone through the Shermers, right? We've gone through
yeah,
struggling and it's like, God, and Joe Judge, can we finally find our guy? And I thought it was a good idea bringing him back. Right, you finally let them get their, Shane and Daboll get their quarterback because they were handed Daniel Jones. They didn't draft Daniel Jones. They finally got a
yeah,
chance to pick their quarterback, and they've nailed it. Whether it was
yeah,
Shane's decision, Daboll's decision, or collaboration, they nailed the quarterback. So you thought he was going to get that time, but it's the way the losses have been coming. If you went out
yeah,
there and you watched and you said, "Hey, you know what? We're just not as talented as the other teams, but we got hope. We got Neighbors. We got Scattaboo. We got Dart." Okay, fine. But to have these big leads and just seemingly collapse these leads. Everybody talks about their most recent weeks. I even go back to the Cowboy game, in week 2. What a terrible loss. And then you've got the Denver loss. You got this loss. And it's just – and then you kind of put the icing on the cake with the 4th and inches from the goal line. Just not going for it. You had the struggles week 1 from the goal line, the play calling against the Commanders when they were in that ball game. They had chances against the Chiefs. They had the Chiefs on the ropes. And it's just everything combined. I think they needed a fresh start. Or they need a fresh start. But to me, it's disappointing because I think Daboll can coach and I think he knows the game. But I think he got so dialed in on just working with Dart and just making sure he had the offense that he lost sight of the other things. And a coach has to be sort of like a general manager in a restaurant. They can't just focus on the servers, right? They got to focus on the bar, the servers, the kitchen, the cooks, the hostesses, right? And I think he got some tunnel vision and wasn't just an overseer and a manager. And then,
he's like got more coordinator behavior than it is head coaching tendencies. And I love the passion, the fieriness. I love him being a quarterback whisperer and getting the best out of Dart and being able to reel that in. I think it's tough to see such an illustrious franchise struggle with these aspects because you guys have had the Tom Coughlins and you have had the run and the rings and everything. And everybody goes through these growing pains. And it really did seem like Daboll was the guy. I thought he was going to get the chance all the way through next year. And regardless of what you're going through now, I still felt like you guys were in that losing little stage. You know what I mean? Like you guys weren't getting blown out anymore. You were definitely losing little. I thought you were there. And I honestly, when we got Bills on Parade, thanks for checking in, like, subscribe, trying to get there. I don't think he deserved to get fired. And I think that it's more of a reactionary firing. I think that whenever you talk to, sure, things happen in the NFL and it sucks, man. But like you don't have your guys and you're literally just getting your first year with your own groceries, a la Parcells. I think it was a little too quick. And I think that your season, nobody thought you're going to win more than 6 games, period. So what are we talking about? Is it that much of a failure? You were punching above your weight. You had the chance to win a few games that you didn't think you were going to win. I mean, I thought you were there, man. I get what you're saying, and they're all valid points. I just thought that it looked like there's more meat on the bone with Daboll. I mean, from what I see,
I think there's some more. I think there's some things probably going on behind the scenes that we don't know about as well.
Has possibly, to be,
right? Finger pointing a lot. Well, there's talks.
We've heard that
everybody but himself.
We've heard that, and nothing pisses me off more as a coach when they interview the coach after the game and he says, "We had the guys in the right spots and we just couldn't make plays." That's literally saying, "I did my job, you didn't do your job," right? And that's kind of been a little bit of a narrative. Yeah, that's been a little bit of a narrative. But I looked at it almost like, well, now, yeah, every team gets injured. I mean, the Giant Joe Shane, he's done okay, right? But our roster on our backups and our secondary has been so bad. I think a lot of it's roster construction. I guess I'm like a Madden player.
Just look at the kicking situation. The punting situation. Right?
They've handled that.
That's been so mismanaged the last 2 years.
They've handled that really bad. And I just think that it says a lot to go on the road. And all their double-digit leads, it was the Broncos, the Bears, the Cowboys. Who's the fourth one? That we blew the double-digit lead. So follow me here. We're up on those guys. We are outplaying them. We are playing better than them. Yes, we blew the lead because we're at that lose small stage. You see what I'm trying to say? And I think I just love – oh, yeah, it was the Saints. Or was it the Saints? Yeah, Saints. I love how Daboll schemes guys open. We always had guys open with Daboll, right? And Kafka might come in and be able to run that same offense. I'm just worried that now Dart will probably miss this game, which might be good because it was Parsons in Green Bay who just put the Eagles' offense in a chokehold, right? I'm just worried, like everybody else. The New York media made this firing, right? They were calling for Daboll's head. I think the New York media was extremely unrealistic with the Giants this year. Now, a lot of people are saying every team gets hurt, every team has injuries, the Niners have been hurt really bad this year, and they're still winning. But I just think that I wish we could have gave Daboll this year and next year, just because if Dart learns to slide, we win one game, right? And we probably win two.
Yeah, we beat the Bears for sure.
We beat the Broncos too, right? If Dart doesn't make that inexplicable interception, which I talked about was a little unlucky, kind of getting your leg pulled as you throw. And I want Dart to get all these growing pains out now. But Dart literally took the league by storm almost. Cam Scatteraboo. These are Daboll guys. These are guys that are fiery, not always rational. And I was okay with Daboll having his temper tantrums. And I think Daboll, even though he's arrogant, is going to learn as he goes. And I just think it almost seems like now it's like you got Scatteraboo, who's an animal. You got Dart, who's kind of crazy. And now who are we going to bring in, right? And I don't think it's going to be Kafka.
Whoever comes in is set up for success. There's no doubt about it, because Dart is
the roster isn't – Dart is the guy, I think, right? I hope Dart's the guy. I just wonder – I just hope that –
and I wonder how much of it is, the handling of Dart and the not sliding, doing these design run plays for him, a few plays after he just took a big hit, and then you do another design run.
What is it, 4 concussions? Is that 4 concussions already they're saying he's had this year?
Yeah, he's been in the 10
that's I mean, yeah, quote unquote. I mean, there has to be some sort of implementation of discipline when it comes to it after you're getting knocked with 3 of them and you're in this game with the Bears. And it essentially cost you, golly.
I think Daboll peeking into the tent is the most overblown bullshit story I've ever heard in my life. He is checking on his guy. He's not telling the doctor.
You don't think he's telling him, we need him.
No, dude. Daboll needs his
There's too many legalities, right? Like, you can't.
Yeah, Daboll ain't doing that. No. Daboll was just saying, hey, this is my guy, man. I'm checking on him. This is the guy that's changing around the New York Giants franchise. I want to see if he's okay. Like, the New York media fired Daboll. I was hoping the Mara family wouldn't succumb to it. I was hoping the Mara family is going to be like, look, this was going to be a very hard schedule. We're showing – if we were getting blown out every game, fire Daboll. But we're showing –
Johnny T brings up a great point. Why does the GM deserve to stay? And after all the fucking debacles that guy made and letting all these players go, and you actually get a coach and start drafting right, and you let him go, and you take credit for the drafts. I don't know. It's a great
Shane's tough because he's made some great moves, and he's also made some bad ones too, and a very public bad one, right? That whole Saquon thing being on the Hard Knock show did not make him look good whatsoever.
And then you even know the way that they were like, yeah, we're going to draft, we're not drafting Daniels and blah, blah, blah. There's like a couple things that happen, obviously, that are aging well, and I love Dart, so I'm glad you got to Dart. So you're not ever saying that, oh, we should have Daniels. I love Jackson Dart for you, but it does seem a bit, I don't know, suspicious. It's a little bit sus that the GM gets to stay and Daboll gets under the axe. That's all.
And it could be one of those things he could get let go at the end of the season. They may want to just keep some stability for now and then bring in a whole new regime. I go back and forth on Shane. I think he knows what he's doing. I like that he's a little more analytical, because if you look in the grand scheme of things, running backs are somewhat replaceable, right? They don't tend to win people Super Bowls now. Obviously, you got the whole Saquon thing, but that was a really talented team, the Eagles. And if you go back and look at Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, I did this with a friend of maybe, last year around Super Bowl time. It's insane how little the running backs have done in Super Bowls. I mean, if you go back, it's not like you have this amazing – like Jonathan Taylor can't win the Super Bowl for the Colts on his own. It's just not happening. You can't. It's not going to happen. So they are replaceable, but to have it on air and televised when Saquon was such a good dude and does everything the right way, and the Giants fans loved him, and then for him,
how they didn't want to give him the few extra million, you know what I mean? It was like literally just a couple extra pennies.
Yeah, exactly. And then you signed Devin Singletary for not that much less than what Saquon went for, so that's frustrating. And because it was so high profile, but he's done some good things. I'm torn, just like I've been torn on Daboll, because you see the good, you see the potential, But then, golly, can we stop, blowing these games? And I said it, I think, on one of my Friday night shows, week 3, 4, 5, when I first got here with you guys on the Pop Sports Network. Get rid of that defensive coordinator. That defensive coordinator should not have been on the plane back home from Denver.
Yeah.
Going into the prevent defense, it's been a saying since I was a little kid. The only thing the prevent does is prevent you from winning. It's been a saying forever. And we keep doing it with these big leads. It's unbelievable. And then that guy's still there. So I don't get it. It's frustrating. I mean, I'm excited for the future because, as TJ said, we got those 3 stars. We got Scatterboo, we got Neighbors, we got Dart. If you have your quarterback, you have a chance. I'd much rather be in our position than the Jets or the Cleveland Browns or some of those other teams, but it's just frustrating. It's frustrating to have some games, and when you're leading in the fourth quarter as a fan base, all you're doing is going, all right, how are we going to blow this one? How are we going to lose this one? Not the other way around. When you had Eli Manning, those great years, the great years there, you said, oh, how are we going to win this game? Oh, we're going to get a stop. We're going to get – now you're just, oh, God, if we get stopped or we give the other team the ball – you feel like you have zero chance of stopping the other team. And how are we going to find a way to lose this game? Which I think is probably what got Mara to that point where it's just going, my God, we keep grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory.
I agree. I know, Dusty, that you have to run. Johnny T says, we all know Daboll. All right.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody. I do have to run. I'm at work today, but I did want to hop on with these guys. Like and subscribe. It's the best show going.
We appreciate you, man.
It's part of my Tuesday, Thursday routine. Thank you for having me on. As a Giant fan, you're letting me vent. This is like therapy. Now I don't have to go and scream at home. Even my wife doesn't understand.
You pay $250 to talk to a shrink,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Don't take it out on the golf balls today. Thanks, Dusty.
See ya. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Yeah. So really quick, Johnny T says,
put a Daboll.
Daboll was the one that got Dart. Daboll's the reason why Dart is a New York Giant.
Right.
He pushed for it, right? There were rumors that Joe Shane really wanted Ward. Daboll wasn't into that, right? I also think that another thing about Joe Shane that I wasn't a fan of is that when he told Saquon, hey, do me a favor, we're going to fuck you and not pay you. But if you do get an offer, please call us back and let us rebuttal that offer. And Saquon's like, yeah, sure, buddy. Click. Never heard from him again. Like, are you that arrogant to the fact that you think that Saquon's going to call you? And also, I don't think it was just about the money with Saquon. I think Saquon wanted to be at his best. So he was going to leave anyway.
Saquon wanted to chase the ring. It was about the Eagles having a really good opportunity because they were a complete ball club. You know what I mean? And that's what I think that's what it comes down to. Like, the money could have been more, and he still might have gone the other way. You could say what you want because it looks better. But, I mean, when you want a Super Bowl ring, you want a Super Bowl ring. He got one. So you think he cares one bit? Like, he knows he made the right choice. Like, there is any question about it.
And there was a quick story. Obviously, happy Veterans Day. We wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for the people that have gotten us to this promised land, right? There was a Monday Night Football story, and they're talking to an Eagles player. It escapes my mind. And the Eagles player, an African-American guy, which is somewhat important about this story, they always talk about their grandpa, his grandpa, the family's grandpa, the patriarch of the family, who was a veteran. And he was with a group of 6. He was the only black guy, 5 white people. They threw a grenade. His grandpa jumped on it, died, saved those 5 people in that area, right? Those 5 people ended up having big families and are now responsible for 50 thriving Americans that are now alive because of this guy's grandpa. And it was a real moving story, such a moving story. I'm bawling my eyes out as I'm watching it. Jason Kelsey did the story, and then as he's re-explaining it as a recap on Monday Night Football, he's bawling his eyes out. And it was just during that time where, it was a real unfair racial climate in our country. A guy that was probably treated unfairly still did the American thing and put his life on the line to save
the right thing. That's not even American. That's just the right.
But it's the right thing. But is it the right thing? Is it the right thing?
The lives around you.
I mean, I'm saying, yeah, it's easy to say that, right? It's easy for us to say on the couch. Is it the right thing? But if you see a grenade on the ground, are you jumping on it or are you running? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to pretend I do know, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like and it was just real important to see that.
I guarantee if it's you and all your ladies around you, you're jumping on that grenade. I'm gonna tell you
I'm
that
jumping
right
on
now.
that grenade, right?
That's
For
no
sure.
question. If it's Sean Munson, Sean Overman, Jeffrey Schneider, and me, maybe you and me look at each other and run. You know what I mean? Like,
I might try to do a little Ronaldo kick and book it the other way,
push
right?
Sean over it. He might live. Like he could absorb the blast.
Yeah. JT Smellick, thanks for listening.
I know what you mean. That chokes me up.
But it was super cool.
I love the stories. I love hearing the old, reminiscent stories of Pat Tillman and what it is and how, American that the connection and lineage of football is, you know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of guys that did a lot of great things for this country that also coincided with them doing some incredible things on the football field too.
Yeah. Super cool. Super amazing story. And it was really just heartwarming, but also just the bravery and the courageousness. I hope that one day, I just think it's super cool that stories like that should never die. And this guy, and I feel horrible because I just can't. It's like I'm having a mental block right now because of the whole Daboll thing. But their family won't let his name die. You know what I'm trying to say? Won't let his name die. And really great ESPN botched it yesterday by advertising Call of Duty Black Ops pretty much right after the storyline, which it's like, I can't believe, like we have a pre-show and we try to read the room the best we could. ESPN dropped the ball.
And then not only that, but producers are like, all right, we're going to drop this story about Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Immediately after, we have to cue the Call of Duty Battlefield commercial. Like, what's going on with that? That's bad. No, yeah.
I know.
Is something interesting.
But yeah, crazy. Happy Veterans Day. And let's keep it going.
All right, man. So that was the Giants. I know that we had some NFL games to break down. The beginning of the week all started way back when Bo Nix and the Raiders just couldn't quite get it going against a divisional opponent. Of course, we talked about this on our last preview. The game was just a struggle. It was stagnant. The Raiders were locking them up. What was your take on this? Because obviously we both had the choice of Bo Nix or Jackson Dart, and we both chose Bo Nix in a league, and it worked out for both of us actually somehow or another whenever we were talking about that, because it did not look good Thursday night, that's for sure.
Denver's at this point in the season, they're frauds, right? They seem like they played down to their competition. They've gotten so lucky on a lot of wins this year. They are going to play the Chiefs this week, coming off a bye. Javi, thanks for listening, buddy. Chiefs are coming off a bye.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your Pats. You already know.
Yeah. Where we were right, where we were wrong. Dead wrong there. Chiefs are coming off a bye. They're going to be playing Denver. Denver's got to figure something out. Dobbins, we don't think he's going to play. It's going to be the RJ Harvey show.
Looks like RJ Harvey.
Bo Nix. Yeah, and it looks like Denver is just, like where they were last year. They're going to be a first-round playoff exit, and they're going to be a team that still looks like, even though they have weapons everywhere, still can't figure it out on the offensive side of the ball. Raiders defense has not been good this year. Raiders locked them up. It was a weird game, Thursday short week, but we will see what Denver is made of this week at home, going against, I think it's at Denver, going against the Kansas City Chiefs.
For sure.
Should be
fun. I know they're probably going to play them a little bit closer than what we're thinking, but I definitely like Kansas City in that game.
Tell you what, Geno Smith got really unlucky that game, but this guy just is not cutting it. Now, he got really unlucky this game. A guy dropped a wide open bomb on the sidelines, then a tip ball for an interception. Mostert publicly misses what seemed to be a pretty normal blocking thing, and Geno Smith ripped into him. And Mostert's like, "You're not going to talk to me that way." And that started a whole new thing. I think Pete Carroll and Tom Brady are like, "What the hell did we get into?"
Yeah, 100%.
It's a lot worse than we thought. I mean, they cannot get Genty in space.
I don't
Right?
understand what's going on with that either.
I don't understand how like you just run a guy right up the center's ass every play and
Yeah.
get 2 yards and figure out what's wrong. Now, they did try to get Genty the ball and he dropped it and it got intercepted, but I can't figure it out. Now they got rid of Jacoby Myers. Bowers, we know, is a god, and he even only had
so
one
good.
catch.
Yeah.
He had one catch against a team that
after
struggled
dropping a
against
40
tight ends.
burger, man. Like you got to be able to if you have Genty and Bowers, how can you not scheme them to get this active, to get them, like you said, in space, to create some sort of gimmick to get the ball in his hands? I don't care if you're running a wildcat, sweeping them across. You got to have these guys giving your team the shot on offense. And I feel like next week, the Raiders, they're getting the Cowboys, and they're probably going to look dynamic against us, right? They're probably going to drop 35 points, and Genty's going to go for 3 tutties and look like everything's all good because the Cowboys are the cure-all to every bad offensive performance. But my goodness, I know it's a divisional opponent, and you're trying to give it, but they should have beat the Broncos. They had the Broncos. Yeah. It's crazy.
Let me I have people text me, they want to hear about my fantasy journey this week, right? We don't talk a lot about I always say nothing is worse than hearing some random guy's rants about his own fantasy team.
Sure.
But this week was one for the ages, right?
People are clamoring about it. It's literally on the internet.
It's pretty much, we're in a big fantasy league. We call it the big league. Almost all of our listeners know it's a very important league for us. Not only because the Honey Pot, not only because it's friends that we've all known for 15, 20 years, but there's also a good amount of money in it. And I'm playing in a matchup where pretty much the winner of this matchup pretty much gets his buy-in back, right? So we do all these little side pots and all these transitions we make throughout the year go into this side pot, and we divvy up this side pot, and I can get my buy-in, which is, some people's cell phone mortgage or cell phone power bills, whatever, right? It's a pretty big buy-in. And I start Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Evan Ingram to start off. They get me 13 points combined, right? Or 15 points combined with those 3. Now I'm pretty much okay, I'm done. I'm not going to get my buy-in refunded for the – yeah. And then going into the 4 o'clock games – 1 o'clock games were even a worse disaster than that. Going into the 4 o'clock games, I'm a 3% favorite. Sonny's a 97% favorite to win, right? And Jahmyr Gibbs goes for 45. That brings me from 3% to 10%, right? Chance to win. Fast forward, he has Gadsden going Sunday night. Gadsden hurts his leg or something. Yep. Now I'm at a 15% chance to win going into Monday night, right? Still pretty much have no shot, right? I have the Eagles defense. He has Jalen Hurts and Josh Jacobs. I'm up by 19 points. ESPN says I have no shot. First half, it's 0-0. I'm a 50% chance to win. Going into the fourth quarter now, I'm a 95% chance to win. Jalen Hurts throws a bomb to Devontae Smith. Packers get a bullshit pass interference. Give Jacobs the ball. I lose. 99% loss rate. I have a 1% chance of winning. I have the Eagles I have the Eagles defense. They have Josh Jacobs and Jalen Hurts. Josh Jacobs gets the ball, fumbles the ball. Eagles get it. -2. I get -2 for the fumble. I get +2 for the fumble recovery. I was down 3.65. Swipes it. Now I'm a 99% favorite to win. But guess what? There's still a minute and 20 seconds left or whatever. Jalen Hurts cannot complete a ball or run for more than 3 yards. Right. They go for it, which is absurd. Thank God 3 plays in a row they hand off to Saquon Barkley, which is really crazy because usually 1 out of those 3 they would have done some sort of naked bootleg and just get Hurts in space, right? And if it's not there, he slides, whatever. So 4th down, the announcers are like, they're gonna just try to draw him off sides. They're punting the ball. they're going to pin him back. They go for it, throw a fade route to A.J. Brown, one-on-one. A.J. Brown looks like he's going to catch it. Somehow the defender stops it. Now I got to worry about Josh Jacobs getting a dump off when Green Bay gets the ball back. Josh Jacobs doesn't get a dump off. Phew, I won, right? Not so fast, my friend. We have McManus lining up for a field goal. If it goes into overtime, I lose, right?
You're cooked.
Because Jalen Hurts or Jacobs is going to get 0.35 points, right? 3.5 yards they would need. McManus misses the field goal. I win. And it was so funny because when Josh Jacobs scores the touchdown, I just go into the kitchen and pretty much start pouting. And I'm feeding Briella bananas and Nutella just with my head down. Peyton's bummed out because he was on this journey with me. He goes upstairs, right? 5 minutes later, I hear a herd of elephants coming down the steps. And Caden's like, have you seen it? Sean Overman, Marcus Magic, all my group chats. My dad's texting me because he left after that. And I'm like, what happened? He goes, Josh Jacobs fumbled. The Eagles recovered. The Eagles recovered. I'm like, I thought I was getting trolled.
Because that's definitely what you would do. You would troll somebody like that.
Exactly, right? And I could just hear Caden coming down the steps, and I knew it was good news. And it was just fun. And, I said it in some of the text messages, win, lose, or draw. I said when I lost, it was a fun journey. And that's why we play fantasy football, right? You want to have skin in the game when you don't have skin in the game. And with fantasy football, you feel like you always have a way where you feel like these are your guys. I mean, if you ever would have imagined I would be rooting for the Eagles to win a game, right? I mean, both of my grandpas, right, are rolling in their grave, veterans themselves rolling in their grave, knowing that, that I'm rooting for the Eagles, but it was just really fun to watch. And it was super cool. And it was crazy because I have a 15% chance to win going to Monday Night Football. And at half, it's 0-0. And I'm just like, man, I'm not even jinxing it. It's an amazing start. I can't ask for anything better. Right. And I know Jalen Hurts is going to get a touchdown some way.
And I was literally just pissed off because it's such a bad game. Everyone's like, oh, the game is awful. But you were just like heating up. And you've also had like 3 or 4 incredible stories this year alone with like a half a yard. I mean, 3.5 yards, last minute moments, just key turnarounds. It's pretty incredible, man. Your fantasy season has been pretty magical so far. It's been fun, and I say in the group chats I can't catch a break, right? Because it's so fun to say that because it gets some people really fired up. But as I'm saying this, I'm watching Jackson Dart and like Daboll. Like Dart was like 10 for 11 versus the Bears, and just looked so good early on. Yes, and it's just one of those. Oh, Johnny T, I just saw your text, your chat. But Dustino is part of Pop Sports Network now. He has a great show on Friday nights. And, he does guest appearances on other shows too. But, yeah, he's part of the Pop Sports Network. We're trying to grow this brand and just, like he said it best. This is therapy for us, and I hope it's therapy for some of our listeners, right? Yep. Yeah, so that was a fun fantasy football journey. And, watching the ESPN percentages could literally put you in some diabolical state. Because, you don't ever – I can be honest with you. I never know my fantasy score. I never know how much I'm winning by. All I look at is that little number on the bottom, the percentage and the projected, right? Because I don't care if I'm up 50 or down 50, if you know what I mean? And I don't have time to go look every 5 minutes at who he's got, who I got, right? I know, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? So I'm always just looking at the projected totals. And those ESPN percentages, they could be a lot better with. It's IBM Watson. They say that all of this is being run by IBM Watson, and this is their system, and it is what it is. I mean, the percentages, they do show accurate, I feel, as some parts, but like football's too unpredictable, man. And I love the next gen stats whenever they show an insane play that actually happens and they break it down and he only has 2.4% to make the catch. And it shows you all the variables and everything's happening, but he still makes it. You know what I mean? That's like what is so cool about human nature and why football is so effing fantastic, man. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So you want to start breaking down some other games? You want to talk about Survivor? Where do you want to go?
let's talk about Survivor, right?
All right, let's talk about Survivor.
This broke you, and I don't blame you for the play at all. I thought it was a great play. I will say this, though. I didn't have skin in the game besides rooting for you. To me, the Bryce Young experiment is done. It's over. He has broken 200 yards once this year. They have some weapons. They have coaching staff around him. Bryce Young is not a quarterback that can lead his team to victories.
I can agree with that statement. You know, I put my face on the running game, and Rico Dowdle came out, got the first touchdown. I was like, all right, cool. We're on pace. This game's going to I knew that the Saints could make it closer than what I wanted. I just thought that the Panthers at home were going to be able to keep up. I didn't think the first touchdown of the game was the only touchdown that they were going to score. And,
unbelievable.
I also thought that the Panthers play was a little bit of a fade play because I didn't think a lot of people were going to be taking them. Turns out they're the number one team picked. 6 other people picked them. All of us got knocked out, and I get it. It's against the Saints, and they were kind of hot. I actually had the Bears in and out the morning of. I was in Jacksonville, been going through other stuff, right? Yada, yada. And I'm looking at the Bears, and we were talking about the weather, and I like the Bears running game with Monungai and Swift. And I know, just like Dustina was saying, how are the Giants going to lose this game? But I also didn't want to get bit in the ass by Jackson Dart. So it just kept I just couldn't quite stay committed to the Bears, which would have got me through, and my lineups looked great, and I couldn't have picked the Bears anywhere else either. But yeah, it was a tough break for me. I believe it knocked out 12 people, something like that, down to the last 9 or whatever it is. It's going to be a tight little circle. Who knows how long that's going to go, but you definitely need some more upsets. I know that the Panthers were one. I know the Bills were another. The Dolphins upset the Bills. That was another loss that a few people had as well, right?
Crazy, right? So the Bills and the Panthers were the 2 teams that got knocked out, that knocked out the most people. I think we are down to, I'm pulling up right now, we are down to 12 people. And this is when it gets real gritty. The next 2-pick week is right around the corner. And boy, oh boy. But yeah, and let's kind of parlay that, right? Let me just pull it up really quick. So I'm just saying it right for us. I know that most people that are in the Survivor pool listen to the show. We appreciate the support. Thank you so much.
Next week I had New England. And then on the 2-pick week, I had Detroit, Baltimore. I was ready to go. I just needed the Panthers. So obviously I will be following this closely to see how it would have fared all the way, because I had it projected out. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
But the Panthers were 27% of the pool picked them. 14% picked the Bills. Those are the only 2 teams that got knocked out. The next 2 highest were the Lions and the Broncos. That's 9, 12. We have 13 people left in the pool. I'm pretty sure Tyson is still one of them.
He's one.
And Ricky's brother is another one. You and Ricky both got knocked out. But it was crazy. For the Bills, the one thing, we thought the Bills-Dolphins game was going to be tough, right? I don't blame you for people picking the Bills either. But the way the Bills were shut out for the first 3 quarters, right?
Yes, they were.
Now, there were a couple big drops that I saw. Every time I looked up, Josh Allen was kind of moving the ball. So that was kind of interesting. Tua was throwing interceptions, but A-Chain took over.
A-Chain was doing A-Chain things, man. One of the studs of the day for sure.
For sure. And it was just one of those things.
The announcer said Josh Allen was the worst football player on the field. He was 306, 2 tutties, and a pick.
Who was that?
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I heard the commentator saying he's the worst player on the field. I'm like, bro, it's Miami. You're talking about a road game. You know the way these teams split in the AFC East. It's tough for Buffalo to ever sit there and get both on Miami. I mean, every year you always hear about the bus ride stories about everyone talking trash and how they always upset each other. I didn't want anything to do with that game. I was definitely trying to stay with the home game. the home team if it's going to be a divisional game. I always feel like a divisional road is like you're asking for it. I was hoping that Buffalo was going to get knocked out because I had the feeling that Miami was going to step up and they were showing some fight, right? And it
Dolphins had him beat early in the year in Buffalo. If it wasn't for the roughing the punter, Dolphins. I think
you and I talked about
Dolphins win that game. Yep.
Yep.
I guess Josh Allen also had a bad fumble.
Egregious
the team doesn't look right, and now they're getting to the point where are they going to be a playoff team, right?
Right.
Because I think that it's one of those things where the Patriots are starting to take over that division a little bit, and you don't want to be trying to get a wild card right now with everything that's going on with the AFC West, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Denver, Chargers, Chiefs, those three might be in. Now you start talking about the Ravens and the Steelers. If they're both in,
right,
then only one more
team. Then you got the Patriots
so
and the Bills, right? And then you got the Colts. And the Colts are
the Colts are going to win the division, so they're automatically in anyways.
So one of those other teams got to steal that spot.
The point I was trying to make is that you have to win the division now if you're AFC East.
You have to.
Most likely, unless the Steelers pummel and come crashing down to earth, which we know could be the case, right? Ravens are starting to get hot. They did not look good against the Vikings, but J.J. McCarthy just isn't there yet to win games.
Right.
He got real lucky and played a decent game versus one decent quarter versus the Bears.
Right.
But watching that, I tell you what, it was the worst call I've maybe ever seen. Not the worst call, the most frustrating call I've ever seen in my life was the Ravens-Vikings game. Again, no skin in the game whatsoever. Vikings guy shoots the gap, stacks Lamar Jackson, right? He kind of comes off a block and puts his head kind of right into the chest of Lamar Jackson as a sack. And they called roughing the passer. On a sack. Not head-to-head.
Yeah. Head to
I
the
don't
chest.
even know what the guy could have done. I saw a guy almost do it yesterday where he was about to crush Jordan Love, and he kind of tried to push him. And I truly think he was scared that he was going to rough the passer on a sack. So he kind of just tried to shove him down, and it didn't work. Instead of just the guy wrapped up Lamar Jackson, put his head right into his chest, which they say you can't. You have to lead with your head. There's only one way to tackle. You lead with your head. You're not supposed to go head to head. But there are sometimes you can only tackle a guy a certain way. And the guy puts his helmet right to his chest, sacks Lamar Jackson, 15-yard penalty. I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm like, this is what football's come down to? Roughing the passer on a sack that isn't head to head.
That makes me sick.
If he goes for his legs,
do that, man. And like you got these defensive players just like they don't know how to approach a tackle, and all these other players are getting out of it and getting the benefit of the call. Or I don't know, man. I know we talked to Eric about it a few weeks ago. Shout out to Eric Langan, one of our loyal and faithful listeners. The referees and the way that they throw flags and they're coming. Like, I really do question it sometimes, man, because that makes no sense at all. Like, how is he supposed to tackle him? And then if he did something wrong, what did he do wrong?
Yeah, exactly. I will say this about the Eagles-Packers game last night, too. It was a low-scoring game, but it wasn't a poorly played game. It wasn't like people dropping wide-open balls. It was ice-cold out, and it was just one of those defensive chess matches, which – we've seen both of these offenses look bad at times, but also look really good at times. I think the Packers are trying to kind of find themselves. No Tucker Kraft, no Jaden Reed. Jacobs, I thought, looked great, but he could only do so much. Jordan Love doesn't look good.
Wicks was doing all right. They couldn't really get Dubes going. And Golden is like he's kind of banged up a little bit. They don't have the crispiness on their passing attack at all.
They don't.
And Lambeau, we get Lambeau in November on a primetime spot when both teams know how important the game is. But I really feel that Matt LaFleur's game plan with Jordan Love, I thought that they were a little too cautious because there was a few plays where there was either a bad catch or a good defensive play, or they were actually starting to move the ball, but they just never stuck to the pass. And they would get a couple of, Josh Jacobs running plays, and then you're on a 3rd and long, and then there it goes, right? And I feel that they didn't really want to open it up. And I get it. They got, Quinyon Mitchell and these other, very talented, CBs and DBs for the Eagles. But I thought Matt LaFleur kind of pussied out a little bit. Like I thought he was it wasn't an aggressive game plan. You're at home and the fans are clamoring for a big play. Like, go win the game, dude. Everyone thought the Eagles were going to win anyways coming off the bye. You know what I mean? Like, you're playing house money, dude. It's not a bad loss really for either team either. So, like, go and play for the win.
And also, I'm on air. Hey, guys, we have 50 in the building. Please follow, subscribe. Thank you for the support. Type fantasy questions in the chat box. Anything you guys want to talk about. I think I'm a fan of the tush push. I say either stop it or figure it out. But the refs are doing the NFL an injustice. 2 tush pushes were run in the first quarter where there was a penalty on the offensive line that was not called. Think about that. And then there was a 3rd time they did a tush push, and they finally called the penalty. Right. Offensive linemen are jumping before the snap of the ball,
right,
and they're not calling it. It happened once with the Eagles and once with the Packers. Right. Both teams, Green Bay is low-key very good at the tush push. They were like 100% last year, I think, like 13 for 13. And they're the ones that complained about it, by the way, which is kind of funny. But it is insane that these refs can't you can see it with the naked eye. First of all, the center is lined up over the ball, which that's a penalty. I'm not even talking about that. The offensive linemen are jumping before the ball is snapped, and they're getting the tush push easily. Finally, after the 3rd time, the ref called encroachment on the offense. Sure. And it went from a 4th and 1 to a 4th and 6, and then they had the punt. But it's just crazy that.
And then you saw they schemed up a couple other, 4th and short plays or whatnot. They had like a little bit of a switch with Saquon, and they have to keep the originality going, because if you're going to execute the tush push, that's one thing, but you have to be able to, like you say, keep your center properly placed. Everyone has to jump after the ball is snapped. And give it all
a big deal.
Shot. Yeah, like, I mean, if you're not nailing it, you're not nailing it. And obviously Kelsey's not there, and you're trying to run a shell of a play that guy is who made it work.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, right? So do you think the tush push is banned next year?
I think that if the refs don't get a hold of it soon, yes. 100%. Now, it's so easy just not to do a tush push. The QB sneak will still be there. Most times, it's not even a tush push. It's a QB sneak. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we just now, and I do it too sometimes. I just every QB sneak now I call it tush push. But let's go talk about the Germany game, right? Jonathan Taylor, your fantasy guy, the guy that's taking you to the promised land in the big league, passes either ties or passes Edgerrin James for touchdowns. Isn't that insane? Yeah. I mean, for how young he is, he's gonna double maybe Edgerrin James' total touchdowns as a Colt. Edgerrin James, a Hall of Famer. Looks like we got breaking news right now.
Breaking news here from our producer, Gene, the Jets fan, he's a closet Jets fan right now. Nico Harrison expected.
Nico Harrison. We'll talk about that right now, right? Dallas Mavericks are in shambles. We all said it. Every Mavericks fan said, we know what's going to happen here.
I'm telling you right now.
Every Cowboy and Mavericks fan said, we just traded Luka for a guy that's going to be hurt the most of his career as a Dallas Maverick.
And then here he goes. He goes down like a sack of potatoes.
Luka is leading the Lakers without LeBron James to the top record. And Anthony Davis, I think, has played 3 games this year. I mean, they are in shambles.
Cooper Flag is not Cooper Flag yet. You know what I mean? Like,
he looks okay. I mean, he's had some fun dunks and stuff.
He's just not coming out dominating like a lot of people thought he was going to. Is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm watching ESPN, so Pop Sports Network might be breaking this before ESPN, which is kind of fun.
Right.
But yeah, back to football. I can't believe Jonathan Taylor is already passing Edgerrin James. That's insane to me. Like Edgerrin James, Hall of Famer, just crazy. And that 83-yard run by Jonathan Taylor, there's only one running back in the NFL that could make that run. There's no other running back that would come out of the pile like that. No way C-Mac could do that because C-Mac doesn't have that top-end speed. Jonathan Taylor has quickness, he has hands, he has explosiveness, and he has top-end speed. He sheds arm tackles. It's great to see this guy back to where he was 2 years ago. And it looks like it's a lot of the play calling and Daniel Jones and the weapons around. You got a big tight end blocking for you. You got downfield threats. You can't just load the box, right?
Oh, yeah, you're going to get beat by Pierce. I mean, you got Pittman just running all over the place in the middle. Warren's laying people out, running up the seam. They got Downs. I mean, they can't even get Mitchell on the field. Like, I mean, we already know they got so many weapons. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's traded now too, right? So he's on the Jets now. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's
also, we have to talk about it. Sauce Gardner looked embarrassing. I mean, he couldn't. And I'm not going to pretend to always know.
Did you see how they played? They literally they showed Sauce and his coverage, and he only had allowed like 1 or 2 catches or something. They were saying, "Oh, he's having a great game. They're so thrilled to go and get a guy like this." And then I'm listening to you, so you're like, he could not make it. It's just you hear, commentators talk, and then you see the film, and it's just different, right?
Oh, he was horrible. He was so bad. He couldn't cover. I mean, they were attacking him, and Drake London was just breaking him off, and he
shut down Drake for a couple quarters.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it was. Every time I looked up, they were throwing on Sauce. Yeah,
yep.
They were throwing on Sauce every time I looked up.
I love that though, because you're going to sit there and try to make a move if you're the Colts. Like, I get it, and the Jets wanted to get rid of him, and we've already seen like a descend because he's just so handsy, and he seems like he's not quite quick enough to get in the right position. And I don't know if it's because he is a bigger body, and that's why they always talk about like sometimes smaller corners are better, just because you're a little bit quicker for those things. And he just looked a little bit slower, man. Like literally, because they had the camera on him all game, and he just looked like he was reacting and not. And it wasn't a proactive move. Like he wasn't running the route for them. He was trying to keep up. It definitely didn't look
And let's be real, right? That could be, he's obviously still a good football player. And the first game in Germany, probably a lot going through his head. Yeah, he wasn't instinctive, you know what I mean? So he could get better, but I'm just saying, after one game, watching him like stumble on a Drake London out and just watching how they are like, literally, we're not scared of him at all, and we're just going right at him, that scares me. Now, on the other end, though, what's going on with the Falcons? They've stopped getting Bijan Robinson involved. They
confused.
Are putting everything on Penix, which I don't know if Penix is one of those quarterbacks where it's like, hey, let's put it all on it. At least in year 2, he's not, right? And you could almost say this is still year 1, right? Because Penix hasn't played a full season yet. But it's like they're just putting everything on Penix's shoulders instead of what they were doing early on in the year, where they were revolving the whole offense around Bijan Robinson.
If I'm a Bijan Robinson owner, I am absolutely furious right now, dude. The fact that you're getting Tyler Algier involved, I get it, because you're supposed to give him a spell or so, but you shouldn't be giving him the key goal line plays when you have a guy like Bijan. And then they're not getting him the ball in space enough. And he should be a guy, if they treated like McCaffrey and could give him like a 25 to 30% like bulk carry, right?
Yep.
Of the percentage of the plays on offense, then everything else works better. And I don't know how that we're on a chair, on a couch, and we see it plain as day. And they have
look what Dan Campbell did. look what Dan Campbell did. Dan Campbell stripped the duties of his offensive coordinator,
yeah,
right?
He was like, no. I'm calling plays now, right?
And Sean Overman and I were talking about it because I was like, people want Gibbs. I go, I might trade Gibbs, but I will not trade him this week. The Lions just lost an in-division game to the Minnesota Vikings and did not give Jahmyr Gibbs the ball.
Right.
Next game, they're going to give him the ball. What happens? They give him the ball. They win by 3 or 4 touchdowns. You give your star players the ball. You find a way to scheme them the ball, and you win. If you do not get your great players, and the thing about it is, receivers, it's a little harder. A running back, it's not hard to get you the ball.
It's not at all.
Hand the ball off, toss it to him, give him a shovel pass, give him a screen pass.
Right, which nobody does screens anymore. Screens are just dead.
Yeah. Give him a flood, flood the zone. If your running back is your best player, you get him the ball, you win the game. You don't get your best player the ball, you lose the game. I know I'm oversimplifying things, but it's getting kind of crazy. What happened with the Bills this week? I want to look at this. I want to look at the stat line just to make sure. But the Bills did not get James Cook the ball.
No, they did not at all.
This is a guy that's had a Pro Bowl season. He's been amazing. I want to look at the stat line.
In the league, and he's absolutely a bell cow.
Yeah. James Cook had 13 carries, 5 catches. So I guess they tried, but
you should have 13 carries each half.
Yeah, he should be a 20 to 25 carry guy, right? So I tell you what, if you're a James Cook owner or even Bijan Robinson next week,
you're definitely getting fed.
Those guys are going to have, those guys are going to get the opportunities for sure. Let's talk about
it's definitely weird for the Falcons, man. I don't know why they're not getting Bijan the ball. Yeah. And like this whole Tyler Algier, Bijan dual backfield thing has just got to stop, because every time they try to do this, they just get their ass kicked. Like, just feed your guy, get him in good situations. If you want to both on the field, I'm not saying that you can't do it. You can line Algier in the backfield and you can put Bijan anywhere. And that no team wants them to do that, because that's a scary look with Drake London, with Kyle Pitts, with Darnell Mooney. So why aren't they doing it? Like, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, because I know we want to move on to other games, but I'm glad. This is why I was on record and saying I was nervous about taking Bijan as the number 1 pick, because they just have a tendency to muck up his workload in Atlanta. And I don't know why.
It's really weird. Also, you know what I was thinking? Yeah, you know what I was thinking about? Remember how this was because the Lions were playing the Commanders. Remember how the Commanders did not want to pay Terry McLaurin?
Right.
And they were like, we don't want to pay him. He was, I think, the last guy to get signed out of all the contracts.
Yes.
And the Commanders were finally pushed by podcasters, by media, and by the Commanders fans to sign Terry McLaurin for like 3 years, $100 million or something stupid like that. And they were worried about his age, but they didn't want to be. They thought they made it, since they made it to the NFC Championship game last year, which is understandable, that this year they could go to the Super Bowl, and they probably would not be able to maximize Jaden Daniels without Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry has been non-existent because of injuries, but if you're the GM, I guarantee he's got holes in his walls and saying, God damn it, I didn't want to pay this guy. This is why. He's getting too old. And now it's like, 60 to 80 million. I think just wait, because now I don't even know if Terry McLaurin's ever going to be the same.
No, right. And then you got Jaden Daniels with his dislocated elbow, and they're out of it. And so the whole season's a wash, and you signed him instead of like building your capital for the future. And that sucks, dude. But good, because it's a rival of ours, and down with the Commanders. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're commies. It's a day of America's Veterans Day, not Commie Day.
He's got 13 catches on the year for 200 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he's the 88th position ranked receiver.
I was so thrilled for that touchdown that week that he threw it too, because don't forget, the worst league I have, I got one stinker this year, and it's a keeper league for like a 2-man, and I had Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. Thought I was so great. Jaden Daniels has been awful. And then I even went and draft. I had larger draft for me. I made a request that said, hey, I got Jaden Daniels. Make sure you go combo him with Terry McLaurin for me. And that was bad advice. You got to know when you're right and you got to see where you're wrong. There should have been no doing with having Scary Terry in anyone's fantasy lineup. Maybe he comes back at the end of the year. They're saying that they didn't put Daniels on IR. And there's a potential reunited to make you feel good at the end, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe he's a league winner late. I don't know.
IR windows, you saw Joe Burrow started his practice back this week.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting because I always thought like with that, it's turf toe. We know how serious turf toe is. We've said for a long time they got to change the name to something else. But I thought it's weird. He's off IR, and they're like, "Oh, we're bringing him back slow." And I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. Is he back or is he not back? Is he going to play this week?
Right?
Do you know?
Oh, Purdy?
Is Joe Burrow going to play?
Oh,
Joe Burrow.
No, Burrow's not playing. No. He's not playing.
Oh, you said Purdy's off IR.
No, I said Burrow is back to practice.
Is off IR.
He's just back.
If you're back to practice, why aren't you playing? I don't understand.
Like I'm not. These are questions I have.
Yeah.
I
mean, I get it, but like the Bengals aren't in a situation where they got to take things slow and wait another week. You know what I mean? They got to get him back. They got to go. Obviously Joe Flacco has stepped in and maybe have done a better job than Joe Burrow for now, right? Short term, we all know that. Right. I'm sure Burrow.
And they get the Steelers this week. You're telling me you wouldn't like to have Burrow back against the Steelers? That was also who Joe Flacco lit up to start this whole crazy roller coaster.
Yeah,
it was the Steelers. Right?
Yeah, I had the feeling the Steelers might have a different tune this week.
Bro, I think this one's in Pittsburgh, so I think it's definitely.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a Thursday night game, and it's going to be.
Is it in Pittsburgh? Let's look. I gotta look.
I think
it is. Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh. It's definitely.
And TJ Watt did look really good versus the Chargers. The Steelers. Let's talk about that game. We're bouncing around here. We're not going to just go break down all the useless games, but. The Steelers.
Nobody wants to hear about how the Jets had 2 special teams touchdowns. I'm sorry, Gene. You just got nixed. See you later.
I love the stat line though that the Jets. They started the game with a kick return, punt return for touchdown. Fields threw a 40-yard screen pass to Breece Hall. They talk about an uninformed fan,
right?
But I heard about it. It was all over the news. Everybody was talking about it all over SportsCenter. But Fields throws a 40-ish yard. Screen pass to Breece Hall. You take that away, and Fields had 12 yards passing on like 13 pass attempts. Fields, and if you watch Fields play, it don't look right, buddy.
It don't look right.
Fields is a great guy, a religious man.
That's 2 wins in a row for the Jets. Jets.
There's also this stat where there's like
Gabriel had 50 yards rushing, like 48 yards.
There's like 3 or 4 games this year where a quarterback has thrown like under 50 yards or 60 yards or something. All 4 of them are Fields or something like that.
It's God, like that's so.
It's
bad.
like it's really just. I wish we could just clip the where Gene was like Fields NFL MVP. Savior of the Jets. It's just, man, it's tough.
You know what sucks too is Garrett Wilson was there for like a few plays, never got targeted. He was out the game. Garrett Wilson did play.
Yeah, now
people know that, but he played.
Yeah, and now Garrett Wilson's out 4 weeks, and it's not because of an injury. He's just like, why am I going to go out and run routes? He just said, I'm taking 4 weeks off. Yeah,
guy could throw 12 yards. I mean, what are we doing? All right, so anyways, we're going to talk about Steelers,
bounce
Chargers,
around.
Right?
Yeah. God, the Steelers, it was really weird. I'm watching as the Steelers are losing, right? And they don't look great. But it's like 1st and 10, a run for 2 yards. 2nd and 8, a run for 1 yard. And Rodgers is kind of looking at the sidelines like, yo, guys, like, we got to kind of get going. 3rd down, drop ball. Boom. And it was also really crazy if you watch this game. DK Metcalf ran, I think it was like a deep post, and Rodgers missed him by like this much. And Metcalf wasn't really thinking that Rodgers was going to get it out there as far as he did. And Metcalf slowed down just for a second and then picked it back up. It would have been like a 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Would have been a 50-yard touchdown. Would have changed the whole game. It's so crazy how in the NFL, one play, they ended up punting that series.
Yeah.
And it's like one play.
Changed the
Actually,
whole trajectory of the game.
Yeah.
So Gadsden goes out in this game, right? I know everyone's going to be talking about Oronde Gadsden being out there. That's a huge blow. But the Chargers, we said that, are they going to be able to maintain losing? They lost Joe Alt, right? Whatever. And they end up, holding down the fort.
Yeah.
Get a crucial win against the Steelers team, who definitely needed that win more than the Chargers. I mean, it's arguable. The Chargers have one win against the Chiefs so far this year, and they're going to have to play them again. And I don't know. And I think that one is going to be in KC, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think if I was to do power rankings from what I've seen, Denver's the third best team in that division. Chargers, Chiefs, interchangeable 1 and 2, right?
Sure.
But the Broncos right now are the leaders of that division, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's going to come to a screeching halt. Chargers look good, man. Gatson got hurt, but they just got weapons everywhere. Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey, your boy Vidal looks great. Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, Hampton's going to be back in a few weeks too,
Hampton's
and so they're holding
weeks.
it down while he comes back.
Yeah, I hope that the Joe Alt injury doesn't cost him. I think that it somehow will. We won't even know, right?
Right.
Let's get to the game that we've been trying to avoid. I know Javi's sitting in the chat room just waiting to pounce on us.
Bucks. We talked about it. This might be one of the only other games that the Pats were going to lose, and they found a way to beat a Tampa team who came off a bye at home, right? Travion Henderson broke out. He had a couple of crazy runs. Unbelievable.
We've been asking for it, right? We're like, give him the ball, man. Just get him the ball, let him explode. Now, not like we can admit where we're wrong, but I did think that Bucky Irving was going to be back.
Sure.
The Bucks don't have their weapons right now.
He's not back this week either, they're saying.
I know. These teams are not very truthful with these injuries, right? Yeah. It's like you very rarely hear a team now just say he's out 4 to 6 weeks. It's just always a week-to-week update, and we just never could get a real story out of it, which I'm sure they'll fix that in the offseason also.
Did you see the Travion Henderson play, his second touchdown? He's running up the left sideline, and he's like running. He's wide open. It's a tutty, and he looks at Coach, and he looks at Vrabel, and you can see him, and it's like in the middle of the run. He was like, yeah, can I score? Because it's like late. And then Vrabel's like, yeah, go ahead. He was like, all right. And then he took it. So that whole aspect that you talked about on Thursday about how Vrabel doesn't really like him. And you can see Travion's like, come on, Coach, give me a chance. Can I score? Is this okay? If not, I'll lay down. Like he's like trying to do whatever Vrabel's telling him to do. And just the fact that Vrabel gave him the attaboy and to go get it, I thought that was hilarious. But it shows that Travion is like, I want to be out here. I will do whatever it takes. I will let this touchdown right through my fingers if you tell me to lay down. He literally was ready to lay down, and he was like, no, go ahead. I thought that was
Vrabel.
Cool.
No, that is cool. Vrabel's like Don Corleone, right? He has the respect of everybody on planet Earth, and he was just like kind of, you go ahead. I allow.
Literally was like, go ahead.
Like kiss the ring. I allow you to score, young man. It's G, you're right, man. You're a Jets fan, you're a Bucks fan, you still can't beat the Pats. I would like to see this game maybe replayed in a Super Bowl. Who knows? When the Bucks are healthy. I think that could be a long shot, but a fun little, rematch story that we would talk about. That could be a meeting in the Super Bowl.
The Patriots are looking dangerous right now, dude.
And you know what? They have a lot of low-key, like, I've loved Demario Douglas. I think I'm saying that name right for the last couple of years.
Douglas, Keyshawn Moody.
Demario Douglas is like an amazing slot. He's probably one of the quickest guys if not the quickest guy in the NFL. They just have weapons everywhere. You have Ramondre, you have Travion, you have Hunter Henry, Stephon Diggs, Booty, and then Demario Douglas. And then you have Drake May, obviously. You have Vrabel as a coach. Pats fans never thought they'd be at this point this year. It's crazy to think, right? Now we know why the Buckeyes won the Super Bowl last year, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, why the Buckeyes won the national championship last year.
Right.
Judkins was their number one. Travion was their number two. Yeah. I mean, just right there alone, that's good enough to win 10 to 12 games in college football.
Yeah, bro. Those boys are balling out right now. The Patriots caught the Bucks at a great time. Obviously, the Bucks are hampered, missing key receivers and running backs, and it's the NFL. You got to step up. You got to get wins. Nobody feels sorry for you. The Patriots came through, handled business, and they get another game ahead of the Bills because the Bills stumble, right? So that really does just kind of give the Patriots all the odds and momentum in the world to take down that division. Like I've been saying, I think Foxborough is going to be a thing. I think you're going to see playoff football in New England. It's going to be snowing. You might even see Tom Brady come up there and call a game, see him up there just to kind of bring back the old guy. I don't know. I'm just saying that the Patriots are definitely going to be playing playoff football in Foxborough. And I don't want to be any of these other teams. I think the only team that goes in there and knocks them off is KC.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Out of the AFC, I don't see the Chargers doing it. I could see them beating the Chargers. The cold weather, the home atmosphere, late in the year in the playoffs. I think KC's built for it. I think obviously Buffalo is, but look at what New England has done to Buffalo. I think they could beat them at home.
I think Vrabel, his biggest challenge is going to be to get his young nucleus out of that anxiety part of their first playoff game, right? Like, can they go out there and play the way they're playing right now? We all know there's no doubt if the Patriots can play how they're playing right now in the playoffs.
They're going to be an odds-on favorite for a bye week right now, though. I mean, we're like starting to flirt with bye week territory at this point where they might get a week off.
Yeah, which is crazy. And I just somehow don't see the Patriots getting there this year, but good for them.
Sure.
Great. Drake May looks amazing. How about the Texans?
They just keep getting good wins. Right? That's all. They keep getting good wins.
They look great. And I'm not.
They do have one of the easier schedules in the NFL, so you got to give them that schedule.
Yeah. I just think it's super cool that the Colts and the Patriots are the leaders in the AFC. There's nobody that thought we'd be saying that, and yeah, it's crazy, right? Well, anyways, how about Jacksonville? We have 50 in the building, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. The Texans outscored Jacksonville 26-0 in the fourth quarter.
I think this is the worst moment of the week, by the way. This is the put your hands on your head and did that just happen kind of thing, right? Go ahead, break it down. Take us through.
Well, Trevor Lawrence is still, I call him Trevor Squiggly Line Lawrence, right? I just think he does not.
That's the Madden. You just can't see everything clearly,
The game doesn't slow down for Trevor Lawrence like it's slowing down for Drake May. It's slowing down for some of the upper echelon quarterbacks. Every time Trevor Lawrence is hiked, I feel like it's like he's having an anxiety attack. There's no doubt physically he has every gift known to man, and seems like a great guy too. But
yeah, he's awesome.
They have to
I told you
figure
he's
out a
beloved
way.
by Jacksonville. He can do no wrong in Jacksonville.
Yeah. He needs to either take a quarter of a Xanax before the game. Somehow he has to calm down and just woosah, because I feel like he's having a panic attack every time he has the ball and he has to make a decision. That's his first
pressure
league.
That's been on him since he's come in the league. He just hasn't been able to shake that pressure, right?
Yeah. And he just Etienne looks great. Jacoby Myers looked okay. I mean, for being the game one.
Parker Washington's certified, dude. He's been getting lit up on targets.
Parker Washington looks good.
Catches everything.
I think that Trevor Lawrence is the one that needs to figure it out, right? You could argue they put up 29 points.
Wu-Tang says that we've seen his best.
I think you might be right about that, man. It's kind of one of those things where he's going to be their quarterback for a while, and I think he's good enough to at least get him to the playoffs every year. But they have these weapons around him now, and when Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. come back with Jacoby Myers, Etienne looks great, I think. He just looks explosive, and it's just one of those things where
they let Davis Mills beat him. They were up the entire game. Davis Mills has a legacy game, just gets going. The Jags, the whole ending play and the boneheaded decisions. We've seen Trevor Lawrence fall down twice and win a game this year. Then we've seen Trevor.
I know.
You know what I mean? And then you see Trevor like in this spot, and just as a fun
It's
story out
just
there to our listeners, my folks, they're somewhat fans in the NFL. You know, obviously there's some political stuff in there from the past or whatever with the kneeling and whatnot. But they've gotten back on the bandwagon. They watch it, and they actually live in Jacksonville. And
yeah,
when it comes to teams they root for, they kind of rooted for the Chiefs. They lived out in Arizona for a little bit, right? You know, they're out in the Midwest. They didn't really like the Cardinals. They root for my Cowboys, humbly enough, my pops was saying, but they root against Jacksonville. Okay. Is like one of the
yeah,
things that my parents love to do. And so anytime they root against Jacksonville, it's always when we went to the game with Eric and the Chiefs beat them, they're like, yeah, you know, Jags, they almost lost. You know, they weren't happy about it at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they were happy
They
that
can
the
see the
Chiefs didn't win.
stadium. They can see the stadium from their bedroom window, and they're just rooting
100%,
against.
right? And so this game's happening, and I'm in Jacksonville, and I'm hanging out with my pops, and he needed some good news on a day like this. You know, he wasn't doing too good
Yeah,
in the hospital. And then I
God bless his
come up,
health.
and thank you, Anastasia. And I come up from lunch. I was like, "Hey, pops, did you see?" Try to give him a little burst of light. The Jags lost, and he was like not feeling good, and he smiles so big, and he sat up, and you could tell it's just like some joy in his life when the Jags lose, and the closer, the better. So for Trevor Lawrence to lose this, there were bets that were lost, millions of dollars were lost, but what
Yeah,
made it the sweetest, it was about my pops being happy because Trevor Lawrence just bumbles it on the last play for the Texans to go and get a defensive touchdown to end the game. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable.
it is unbelievable. Let's talk about maybe the best team in the NFL right now.
Sure.
Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
I want to say they were up like 28 to they were up 21-0 like halfway through the first quarter.
You saw that spooky
Um,
DeMarcus Lawrence touchdown. Like both of them were from the same yardage, like a series after another. That was kind of
yeah.
eerie too, right? That was wild.
If I was to tell you the Seahawks are going to put up 44 points and Sam Darnold is going to throw the ball 12 times, you would be like, you're on crack, TJ, right? I mean, that would be
Yeah.
something asinine to say. But that's what happened.
That's exactly what.
Miraculously,
this is
JSN
what
still got his, which is
Jason got
ridiculous
his.
also.
Right.
Guy is
Jason
so
got
good.
his.
Jesus.
Now, here's the defense is obviously for real, but this is the thing that I think we need to talk about with the Seahawks. The running game hasn't really popped. And Kenneth Walker doesn't look like the Kenneth Walker we all thought he was going to be. And they got kind of the Falcons vibe going with Zach Charbonnet vulturing anything
Yeah.
that people want Kenneth Walker to get. You know what I mean? And so you have these
Yeah.
two backs. They're good. They're serviceable. I feel like Kenneth Walker doesn't have that explosiveness. And I feel like Charbonnet is definitely, yeah, I bet, man. And I feel like Charbonnet is just going to continue to vulture. And he's like, you know, just a steady plotter. And he's had big games whenever Kenneth Walker hasn't been able to
Oh, yeah.
go.
Charbonnet.
And so,
top
you know,
15
like I
back
feel
for-
like Charbonnet
yeah.
has that youth and he's a little bit stronger, healthier kind of thing. But neither one of them look great right now. And Charbonnet, to Sean Overman's point, is averaging like 12, 13 points on the low. But you just
Yep.
can't ever really find him in your lineup because there's always your starters that are there. And he's more of a bye-week fill-in or a flex. Are the Seahawks going to struggle moving forward in real life as well without their running backs really being able to get it going? Because their defense is making it easy street. They got all these dynamic weapons. I think there's going to be a game coming along, I feel, when the Seahawks actually stumble. It's going to be because they cannot be reliant on the running game.
I don't know. I think that they have two. Yeah, fantasy-wise, it's not ideal. But I think Kenneth Walker doesn't look horrible. He's just not like a
Doesn't look
fantasy
great.
stud. But, I mean, I think that they have a two-headed monster back there, and that's important. Because, like, yesterday, I'm watching the Eagles, and Saquon's amazing. Shipley isn't bad, but I feel like when he gets the ball, he ain't taking it to the house, right? So,
Sure.
like, we're Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, it's 1A, 1B, where either one of them can bust one, right? And, I mean, that team right now is just relying on – it's like, I don't know, like meat and potatoes. Like they're bigger, faster, stronger almost everywhere. Their defense looks good. They have a better home field
I
advantage.
feel like some
Sam
days
Darnold looks great.
right. Some days it's their offense boat racing you. Last game, it was their defense boat racing you. Maybe we just haven't seen the running game just go and take over yet. But I just feel like they're so talented on so many sides of the ball. Maybe that's a reason of it. We just haven't really seen them lean on them, and we haven't really seen with the opportunities given, they haven't really broken out either.
Yeah, I think that, well, next week is going to be a really fun game to watch. It's in LA, but, Rams at Seattle. We'll talk about that on Thursday.
Yep.
But that's going to be that could be like a day that you take off work, you do whatever you got to do to sit down, get on your couch.
Watch one of those games, yeah.
Throw that fireplace on and watch some good football, right?
Yep.
I secretly wish it was in Seattle just to see how Stafford and the boys handle the elements. But those are two good teams trending in the right direction. On that note, Rams played at 49ers. Niners couldn't stop them. Niners could not stop them. I felt like watching that game, Niners offense looked pretty good, but they just had no
Mac
answer.
Jones and being banged up, and Jennings, I know, had a couple of catches. He had a crucial fumble, right? Something like that.
I mean, yeah, Mac Jones looked great. I mean, he was 33 for 39, like you said, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He threw 6 incomplete passes. One of them was a drop. I mean, they looked. Mac Jones is going to be a starting
looks like
quarterback.
He's getting another job. You know what I mean? That's for sure.
Let me ask you something. Let's say money's not involved.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of a team that could use him as like the Dolphins. Let's say money's not involved. They're giving up on Tua. Are you a Mac Jones or Kyler Murray guy?
Mac Jones.
Me too, right? Isn't that crazy to say? If I was thinking back 3 years, if I was thinking back 3 years, and we're 3 years back, and then I tell you, we got a trade question too. I told you you love Mac Jones over Kyler Murray, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here, right? I mean, that's literally what it is. What's up, Zandy? Thanks for listening. Yeah, I think Zandy says neither. I mean, Mac Jones just threw 33 for 39, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. We had one interception.
Mac Jones was the product of a rebuild before Vrabel was even there. Okay, let's just be real. Mac Jones, he is going to be one of those quarterbacks that's going to find success in a good system with good coaching. I feel like he's Alabama quarterback, right? Whatever.
And Zandy, you're right. Yep, you're right, Zandy. Though Shanahan offenses can be, but listen. Shanahan's also one that heavily strongly endorsed, or whatever word I'm trying to look, Sam Darnold. And now look what Sam Darnold is doing, right? And we didn't really see much of Sam Darnold. Let's get to Jay's trade question. Should I trade Brock Bowers and CeeDee Lamb and Rachaad White for Bijan
and Judkins?
I will say this. Take Rachaad White. Rachaad White doesn't need to be in there. I mean, Brock Bowers and CeeDee Lamb for Bijan and Judkins is fair enough. Do we agree with that, Buff, at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
But should I trade? So he has Bowers and CeeDee Lamb. We'd have to know the full roster thing. But I will say this. You're buying low on Bijan and Judkins. Judkins kind of didn't have a great game. Judkins is going to have 20 to 25 touches, barring injury, from here on out. There is nobody competing for him in the backfield. Now, the Browns, they feel a little, feet in the mud kind of thing. I don't think they're really getting going. I think your floor is a little higher with Bijan and Judkins, right? Because you're looking at 50 touches a game between those two guys. And Bijan is going to blow up like he did last year, late in the year. He's going to get the touches.
Geno's only really lit Bowers up for one game. CD has Pickens, and the Cowboys offense is good, but you just can't rely on their defense.
I would do that trade, Jay. I would do that trade. Go buy Bijan and Judkins. You're buying a little low on them right now.
I would absolutely do that trade.
Try not to include Rachaad White in that.
You don't need White.
I keep White because we don't know what's happening with Bucky. I think White can be especially if you're in a super, in a double flex league. But Bowers and CD. I don't trust Geno Smith. We all know Bowers is going to have big games, but there's going to be some duds in there. CD Lamb looks great, looks amazing, but Pickens and him, that's a 1A, 1B situation there. I would pull the trigger on that, go get Bijan and Judkins. If he's demanding Rachaad White in that trade, still make the deal. But if your running backs are terrible and you have Ferguson already, Ferguson is a good enough tight end where he can make up that gap.
100%. That's a good trade.
Yeah. So we're wrapping it up here.
Little weird too. We had a 44-22 with Seahawks and Cardinals, 44-22 with Lions and Commanders, right?
And I know that is kind of weird, right? It's like
they're like doubled up.
Rams, I'm gonna take it.
We're close.
That has to be the first time in history, right? 44-22, 44-22. Bro, you know what's so crazy about Jahmyr Gibbs? Have you ever seen Jahmyr Gibbs when he's sitting on the sidelines? Yeah. His arms are like this big, dude.
Yeah.
It's like he is a super freak. I can't believe there wasn't more hype with him.
Right.
I think he was like Georgia Tech, right? We all know he went to Alabama. But like, how is this guy not like, I don't even know if we've ever seen a running back like this before. Like with top end speed like that, but he's also so like fast. The strength, and he's like so wiry. And I think that's why Dan Campbell was like, listen, moron, if you're not going to give him the ball, I'm taking over the play calling duties, right?
Right, exactly.
But
and like we all love David Montgomery, and he has a spot and a role in a life, and he's the perfect balance. It's Sonic and Knuckles, you know what I mean? Like I love both of it. I love what they have. I honestly think they're probably my favorite tandem running backs in the league. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery are nasty, right? You just have to use them correctly to really let them run. And I know if you're going to give, that's what's so beautiful about David Montgomery is like Jahmyr Gibbs, you should be running him at a high percentage of play calls when it's not just running, but and passing, right? Because you should have Montgomery in the backfield and Jahmyr Gibbs lined up in the slot or as a receiver. And you should be dual threading those guys because David Montgomery can also break a 70-yarder like we've seen. But Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks like he can do things that Montgomery can't when it comes to positional explosiveness. He can just be like out of a cut and then he's gone. And David Montgomery does not have that shift of speed like that.
And he's just so strong. Jay has one more question. Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, or Garrett Wilson? Well, Garrett Wilson obviously is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Keenan Allen, the ball's way spread out there. Zay Flowers is by far your number one there. Flowers had a pretty good game last week. He had 4 catches for 75 yards. And I do feel like Zay Flowers is about to have one of those big games. You know what I mean? So I don't even know who you could go get, but definitely hold on to Zay.
Trade Wilson either at this point. You kind of have to make your bed with him because if you were going to trade him, you needed to trade him early. And you could have got something for him because he looked like he was going to be that dude in that offense. Now, nobody knows what the hell to do with the Jets.
He's out 3 to 4 weeks.
He's
by
out.
Choice, not by injury.
That puts you week 14, so you're getting him back for the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of your bed with Garrett Wilson. So if you're going to try to get rid of Allen or Zay Flowers, I mean, you could probably get a little bit more for Keenan Allen. He just looks a little bit more consistent in that offense, even though he's older. And I feel like people are going to go for him because he's been healthy. So maybe you want to, because Zay Flowers is an elite talent, and he can absolutely go bonkers, and he will because he's got Lamar back, right? That's definitely coming. The whole Keenan Allen thing, you still have the young lad McConkey. You obviously have QJ. And then you do have an Omari and Hampton coming back, and they are a run.
And then you have Gadsden, who's another target.
Right, and you have Vidal, and they're a run-proficient team. Yeah. So I think I kind of like you seeing what you can get for Allen more than Flowers.
And Gino, producer, says, Malik Washington. I have Malik Washington in all my leagues. I would be surprised if he's available in anything.
He had a touchdown last week.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot of targets last week, but he has a touchdown. He's a part of that offense. And if you watch him play, the guy is so dynamic. You wonder why they're not getting him the ball more. Because he's a little guy. Tua is a little guy. We've always talked about. I hate when little guys have to throw to little guys. because it's just harder for them to get on the ball. But
Go target,
um,
since you're going to throw in Krosky Merritt, go target somebody who's really weak on running back and give them like a little combo piece. Because Krosky Merritt will still be serviceable, especially because you have Mariota running the offense. It is what it is. You're going to
yeah,
need to
the
run the
Bill
ball with
Krosky
Krosky.
Merritt thing, I don't know why he's been so bad. He had that one good game. He had one or two decent games, and then that's
I
that.
feel like it's the
Before we
Commanders'
wrap,
offensive play calling, dude.
before we wrap it up, I'm getting some sources that are telling me the Giants might be talking to Nick Saban today.
What do you think about that? What's your first reaction to
I
get Nick Saban's last hurrah in the NFL?
I like it. I think we say Nick. I mean, the guy is 73,
I'm looking up how old is
74.
Nick Saban right now.
I think he's 74. He looks like he's 64. I think he has 5 good years left.
He's 74 years old.
Okay, my only concern, and obviously I looked that up like a week ago, and I just remembered it. Not like I randomly know Nick Saban's age, but I just try to be funny there.
That was good.
But
that was good.
I think that Nick Saban, my only concern is, does he have the herd of coaching staff that would follow him into the depths of hell like he had? You know what I mean? Think about it. He had Lane Kiffin. He had Sarkisian. Does he still have those guys? Not those guys, obviously, but guys in his back pocket. Because if Saban comes in, he's cleaning house, right? He might keep Kafka, but he's going to be the GM. Joe Shane will be out. Nick Saban's going to be running that show from top to bottom. And I think Saban has a little bit left in the tank. Definitely not to go into college and deal with all that NIL bullshit. But Saban and Mara have connections, right? Saban has been coaching with Belichick and with Bill Parcells. So there's that giant connection there. And I think that Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban will be the top 2 guys the Mara family is targeting. Now, the Saban information I'm getting from a source that I trust dearly, but I think I could see Saban being the new head coach for the New York Giants. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, and I think that these old guys that are experienced like that still got one more trick, kind of like Pete Carroll. And I just wonder if it's going to be like a Pete Carroll situation. Obviously, I like your team better than the Raiders. That's for sure. Your team has shown promise, and now that you got a Neighbors and you got a Scattaboo and you got a Jackson Dart, now you're going to have some of these people looking at your chess piece.
And now you have Nick Saban coming in.
With that.
And Saban will harness these guys, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing I can't stop thinking about when I'm watching that the Bears game, there were 2 horribly blown defensive assignments that game, both by DNs, one by Abdul Carter, one by Brian Burns, blown assignments to the point where I talked to my buddy who's a high school defensive coordinator, and he's like, if that happened in high school, those guys are getting ripped in the locker room. In the NFL, inexcusable on clear passing downs to be falling for play actions and to let Caleb Williams break contain. Absolutely embarrassing. Won't bore our listeners with the details there, but Nick Saban.
J121 has one more question. There's a guy in my league with J.K. Dobbins and Mason. You think he would accept Bill and Allen for Marv or Tet? Probably Tet for sure. You might still have some belief in Marvin. But Tet has shown, like TJ said, Bryce Young experiment might be done. The guy showed a little bit of life last year after getting benched from Dalton.
Yep.
And he, I mean, it's crazy how the NFL is. The kid's 5-5 on the Panthers. Nobody thought they were going to be 5-5. And everyone was like, he's done. And that's, I mean, we get it. And that's what the NFL is. It's a pressure cooker, but they do have a great running game. They actually kind of got a sneaky defense. I think that you could probably definitely get Ted. Ted is the number 1 guy on that team. He's going to be getting targets all year. He's only had the one game where he had a couple tutties, and they're still kind of struggling on offense. It is a running first offense if you get Ted McMillan. So you have to be aware of that, right?
Yeah, definitely not Adam Gase, Gene. Yeah. God bless your dad, Buff. Good luck with everything.
Appreciate
be safe
you, man.
Driving. Guys, we'll see you back
up to Jax. Yep, we'll be back on Thursday previewing it, give you the survivor picks and some of the bets that we're going to like I think that we got a great slate of games this week, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, thanks for watching,
right,
everybody.
guys.
Like, subscribe, get us out there. We appreciate you, all the support and all the love. Prop Stars out.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Peace.